What's up, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. We're out here at Rockingham Dragway. Got Courtney's car out here. We're at TKM, the Small Town Throwdown, Customer Appreciation Day. They got like 3 or 4 classes. We were not able to get Randy's quite ready, so Courtney hopped on his, got his all ready. So he's out here. Go check out this if you want to see some more content on his car. The Paint and Paper Hustle. Go check him out. Follow him on YouTube. He'll have different videos showing what we got into today as well. On the video today that I'm going to show, you'll see a little bit of random stuff with other cars. So Kevin Mullins, TKM, has already done the tune on this thing. They tried to get on the dyno last week and had a problem. So we're out here now. The tune is good. We're going to be just basically making sure the spark plug tips stay on. Kevin has put the numbers in it that he wants for timing. He's put the numbers in it that he wants for air-fuel ratio. I can make sure the Holly is doing what he is commanded to do, and we can look at the plugs to make sure the tips are still on it. So first pass for Courtney's today. Make a half-track pass. We're going to make it out about 300 foot just to make sure that everything's good. We're going to talk to Courtney real fast, see what all he's done, and then we'll go from there. If y'all want to support the channel, head on over to turbojohnracing.com, grab yourself some hats and t-shirts, comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks, guys. All right, Brandon's out here, Courtney's out here, Randy's on the way. I know, we were all running late today. Courtney, what all you done since the last time?
So we lost the intercooler.
Okay.
Put the intercooler off, and we put it on M1. Okay. So we switched from dual electric fuel pumps to the mechanical fuel pump. Right. And then we had to change some fuel lines. We changed the trunk setup for weight reasons. We moved the radiator to the back, took it off the nose, moved it to the back. And we changed the parachute from spring launcher to air launcher. Took the wing off and made some appearance changes. So that's just a bunch of little stuff. You can check the channel out. We did it for like 1 month of just a bunch of changes, like little stuff. But the major changes was switched it to M1.
And the big reason you did that is you got it on the dyno. It made about 850 horsepower?
I don't remember, but it was mid 800s.
And then Kevin was like, well, you know, something's odd. This thing's just not got the RPM power that it should have. Yeah. So he was like, well, it's got to be the intercooler. It had that little air-to-air intercooler on it. Yep. And thinking back into my mindset too, back in the day, mine maxed out a little bit over 800 horsepower is where that maxed out. So Kevin talked him into going M1. Now me and Randy have been saying go methanol for a while.
Actually, Kevin wanted me to go air to water.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, Kevin did not recommend M1. He recommended air to water, and when I compared the finances of what it would cost to switch to air to water, that's when I realized that it just made no sense. Because if you're going to keep growing, then of course, if you go to air to water, then the next step is going to be go methanol. And when you go methanol, you don't need to mix the air and water. So I said, well, let's just go straight to methanol. Financially, it just made more sense.
Well, I know me and Randy have been screaming methanol for a while now. So hopefully it runs good, especially since Kevin did not recommend methanol.
And y'all tell Randy that we were screaming 4-link for a long time. So every time he wants to bust my chops about the M1,
right.
He ain't want to listen.
Right. So that's the big changes today. So like I said, Kevin's out here too. So if we have an issue that we think we need to address, we'll get him to, you know, look at the computer. But it should be, methanol is pretty easy. It's not too bad at all. The car looks phenomenal. Everything looks just great. The build is good. You know, obviously it should pick up power. Now he also sped the blower up a little bit. So what RPM is that thing going to max out at now? Did y'all do the math?
I don't know. The math they Procharged said on the 425 pulley that we would max it in the, I think, the 8,000 range.
Okay, so
we went all the way down to 396, so we should technically be overspinning the blower with this one.
Okay, so
if we run it up into the 8s.
So we're fixing to, have you already loaded the tune yet?
No.
Okay, so we're fixing to do that real quick. We're going to load the tune up in it. We're going to drop the shift point down. He's only going to make a half-track pass this first one so we can get some data log stuff. Look at it, make sure the timing and the air-fuel ratio is where Kevin wanted it, and make sure it's not making like 80 pounds of boost. So here we go, guys. Check it out. I think that's a All right, guys, so we just pulled the data log. He done a trans brake test, and it didn't sound right. It's supposed to be at 3,600 RPM, but it was real. It's dropping a lot of RPM out. Wah, 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 wah. So we just pulled the data log. So look at this data log. So we had it set. The two-step was supposed to be at 3,600 RPM, 33, 32, 3,000. It's just basically just going all over the place. So I started looking. And one of the things that is right there, that fuel PSI safety, that's what Kevin's setting up in there. It's not completely done yet, but to set it up so that basically if it loses fuel pressure, then it cuts the dwell off. And I've never seen it set up like that. It's a great idea, very easy to do. But I think we just found Courtney's problem that was on the dyno. So I don't know if y'all remember when Courtney first got this thing back together, we were chasing fueling issues. Fuel PSI was real erratic, like really erratic. Come to find out, put another pump on it. Had 2 electric pumps on it.
Still had a problem.
And still had a problem. It was still erratic.
Then we built inside the fuel cell a thing to keep it from sloshing.
It was still erratic.
Still had problems.
So I was like, Courtney, send me the tune. He sent me the tune, and I started looking at it. And when I pulled it up on my computer, fuel pressure was
Perfect.
Steady, rock solid. And then, so Courtney was like, dude, he sent me a screenshot of his. It was all jagged.
I took a picture of my phone.
Then we noticed that there was 2. You have fuel pressure and then fuel PSI. Basically, we ended up tracing it down to fuel PSIG is not actually into anything. It's not even pinned out. So that's off of like an old tune or something when Chris first set this thing up. So we forgot about it, and when Kevin was tuning it, guess what he made his safety on? Fuel PSI G. And not the well, it's not G, fuel PSI safety, fuel PSI. And because I went in there to actually turn it off in the map here, and yeah, fuel PSI is up there, but fuel pressure is what we're actually reading. Now, something that is interesting is even though it's not plugged up to anything at all, the fuel PSI down there is reading constant 44. But if you look at this is fuel PSI. It's going up and down. And then if you look at the fuel PSI safety, what it's doing, that is cutting spark. So every time that pulls, look, it pulls spark away and it doesn't spark. So that's what it's doing. It's going to make it feel like it's skipping. So anyway, so we're fixing to fix all that. Basically what I'm doing, I'm erasing the fuel PSI because we don't know what it is. It's not logged anything. Yeah. Essentially, Holly is going to do what you tell it to do, regardless. If you screw up the numbers when you punch it in, or you log it on something, it don't know the difference. It's going to do what you tell it to do. That's the good and bad thing about EFI.
Yeah, do the same thing.
All right, guys. Well, that worked perfect. That was perfect. All right, so we made 600 RPM, sounded good. 6 pounds of boost. I think the peak was 6.2. So yeah, let's go make a pass.
So for Turbo John Tech, 9-1.
Turbo John Tech. Guys, here we go. So Courtney is going to get dressed up real fast. Going to go make a pass, half track pass. That is. We're going to run it about 300 foot. I got the shifter turned way down. We just need to make sure, since he wasn't able to make any dyno pulls, we just need to make sure that the tune-up is actually where we want it to be, and that it's not having to add a bunch of fuel. All right, guys, so it chunked the blower belt. That's why it looked like a turtle. Did not quite blow the fuel pump belt off, so he's gonna have to loosen that up. I did notice earlier that this thing was moving a lot. I mean, it's only got so much tension. So it threw the belt off. So he's gonna pull this thing off real quick, get the belt back on it, see if we can get a little bit more tension on the belt maybe. That is a smaller pulley, so when you have a smaller pulley you have less belt wrap, and so what happens is potentially with the less belt wrap, I mean, it just makes it kind of funny. All right, guys, so they're working on the belt over there. It threw the belt off as soon as it went to the trans brake. As soon as it got on there, it made 6.6 pounds of boost, which is what it should have left with. And then he was letting it bang, and actually when he let go of the trans brake right here, it was down to 1.3. So the two-step actually knocked the belt off. So he just got the tensioner off.
We were in that hole, that hole, that hole.
Okay, so yeah, we're fixing to try to really tighten this thing up. That's what we gotta do. So we'll move the holes in here because the belt is shorter. I mean, not the belt. Well, essentially the belt's longer because the pulley is smaller. So we need more tension on it.
It only has 3 holes, right? No, it has 3 holes. No, it has 3 sets.
Then you're gonna have to feed them the rest in.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to. It's gonna be very difficult. It definitely is not bouncing like it was before. It's definitely tighter. We moved it quite a bit, so we barely could get it on. There's no way we can make that any tighter. So yeah. All right, guys, here goes the Outlaw 28 class. I think it's coming up first. Still all glass coming up. All right, guys, here we go. So we made some changes. Tune-up wise, it was adding quite a bit of fuel, so we adjusted the fuel table, which, it didn't get on the dyno to make any passes. It did make 28 pounds of boost at 7,600 RPM. So that's making a lot more boost, making about 10 more pounds of boost than what it was. Now, the pulley size is a little bit smaller, but the bulk of that gain is from the intercooler. There is no intercooler, so there is no restriction. So looking at fuel consumption, 2,800 pounds of fuel. 2,800 pounds of fuel is 1,400 horsepower. You got to take into account all the blower speed and all that. And that's actually at the crank, so that's probably about right. Yeah, so we're ready. Increased the air pressure, tightened up the shocks in the back, gave it a little bit more travel in the front. The struts are on full tight, so we're going to try to make it so it don't porpoise. That time they were tied down and it come up and then went down. All right, guys, so that did not work out that time. Went a 145 60 foot, did a nice little bunny hop. It was because the front end come down. So what I was trying to do, my plan was to let the front end come up and kind of hold up and drive out, but it popped. It's like it popped it up and then slammed it down. So unfortunately our day is done because the blower belt is ripped in half. Keep the fuel pump belt off as well. So here is the belt. So the belt is a no-go, which this thing's been thrown off multiple times now. So yeah, but he's ordered another spare. So this one is definitely yeah. All right, guys. Well, we got. I think we got personal best 60 foot. Went on 127 60 foot the second pass. So yeah. All right, guys. Go check out his channel, The Paint and Paper Hustle. He'll go over everything else in more detail. Later, guys.